what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. In the current breaking news now about the Classic Physique division at the Olympia is that they will be remeasuring all of the Classic Physique athletes at the Olympia this year. So I first saw this on the Who is the Best Bodybuilder Instagram page. It's also on any of the Brazilian Instagram pages if you want to read it in Portuguese, whichever you prefer. So essentially, an email was leaked by an athlete. So apparently this was sent to all the Classic Physique athletes, according to the email. One of the athletes leaked it, and now it's all over Instagram. So assuming this is real, which I am assuming it's real, which is why I'm not showing a copy of the email. I mean, literally all it says is that they're going to be remeasuring them, but there is a rather legal, lengthy confidentiality notice at the bottom of the email, which is why I think it's real and why I don't think it's a good idea to show it, because it basically says don't copy, paste, post this email. It's a private communication. But assuming it's real, basically all it says is we're remeasuring the athletes. Now, this is a really big deal. I think that this is a direct response, again, assuming that this is a legit email from whatever athlete actually leaked it, because it feels like it might be a direct response to the Mike Sommerfeld situation. I think that one of the reasons why the Mike Sommerfeld height thing has gotten so much traction is because there are so many things that there's so many posts that people are digging up. There's so many pictures of Mike next to other people. There's even a video clip that I just saw today of Mike saying that he's really 1.7 meters tall, and on the day of the weigh-in, he's 1.73. Which, I mean, even aside from all these, like, pretty subjective height comparison pictures of him standing next to other bodybuilders, when you just straight up look at the IFBB rules, the weight classes for pro classic physique, for Mike Sommerfeld to weigh 212 pounds at the weigh-ins, which is what he weighed last year. You hear them say it on camera. You hear them measure him at 5'9¼ inch. That means he has to be over 175.3 centimeters. 100 centimeters is a meter, so he would have to be at least 1.75.3 centimeters tall, or 1.75 meters, and to be in the up to and including 5'10 category, which goes up to 177.8 centimeters. So I know all these numbers are kind of confusing here. So when you convert, so what Mike is saying in this video that I just showed you, he's saying at his tallest, when he weighs in, he's 1.73 meters. That would put him at 5 feet and 8.1 inches. So a full inch shorter than he weighed in at, and that would put him in the up to and including 5'9 category, which would mean he could only weigh up to 204 pounds. So this is the controversy. There's a little tiny gap of height that people think was given to Mike by his hair and by the position that he's being measured in, which allows him to be so big, which I think that's why this conversation of Mike is so muscular for classic physique is especially relevant to this conversation, because maybe he's not supposed to be as heavy as he is based on his real height. So the reason why this is really relevant, again, it's not about is Mike cheating, is Mike taking advantage of this and that. I think a lot of guys are taking advantage of whatever they can to get an extra couple centimeters or an extra quarter of an inch or whatever, whether it be their hair or the way they stand, whatever. But I think that it's just relevant because one of the reasons why Mike moved up from 8th place to 2nd place could be the sudden weight change where he can weigh 8 pounds heavier. So like right now, there's no denying when you look at Mike Sommerfeld, he is the freakiest guy, I think arguably the freakiest guy in classic physique. He's on paper the favorite. He's the favorite to win the Olympia this year. And so when this situation is applying specifically to him, if they remeasure him and they push down that measuring device to the top of his head, and he is not as tall as he was last year, you've seen what he looks like. He's muscular, he's freaky, he's lean. He might miss weight. And if this email that we're seeing is legit, if it's real, and they are remeasuring him, there's a real chance that that happens. Because I think if this email is real, that's why I do think it was a response to this situation. They don't want there to be any doubt about these guys' heights and weights. They don't want there to be any room for controversy. I think they need to live stream it on the Olympia TV YouTube channel or whatever, so everybody can see exactly how tall these guys are, exactly how they're standing, exactly how the measurement is done on every single guy. They should have a camera on the scale, a camera on the measuring device, a camera on the guy, and we should be able to see all this with as popular as Classic Physique is. But I think up until this controversy started to gain traction, I think Mike was fully planning on being 212 on stage, and that's why he looks as good as he looks. So when those weigh-ins come, if they measure more strictly and they push down on his hair, whatever, all that Mike has to lose is 1/4 of an inch. The margin is very, very small. So the chance that if any of this controversy, like all these posts that we're seeing, all these height comparisons, all that has to be true is he's 1/4 of an inch off. That's it. It's a very small margin that we're talking about. That would mean he has to weigh 204. And the question is, can he do that? If the weight measurement comes back, if the height measurement comes back, and he has to be in the up to and including 5'9" category, which it seems like he probably should, he's going to have to weigh 204. And the question is, can Mike do that? And whatever he has to do to get those extra 8 pounds off, how drastically is that going to impact his look on stage? I think this is a very important question because we're talking about Mike as potentially the heir to the throne of Chris Bumstead, and this could be a very real thing that interferes with him winning this year. Because like I said, all this stuff to the side, all the posts, all the height comparisons, all these different numbers that you're seeing, if you just put all that to the side and you look at that weigh-in from last year, the question now that they're remeasuring them is, when you look at that measurement, do you think that there's a chance Mike could come in 1/4 of an inch shorter if they measure more strictly this year? That's the only question. And I think the answer to that for a lot of people, like looking at this rationally, I think the answer to that is yes. And again, I don't necessarily hold this against Mike or think he's a cheater or any of that stuff. He was measured, let's be real, he was measured there in public in front of all the other athletes. There were people filming. It's not like I think he has an inside guy or anybody, fixing the system for him. I think that it was, for me, it just came down to his hair. I don't think they pushed down on his hair hard enough. They set it right on top of what I think was very clearly, puffed up hair, which again, everybody else, not everybody else, but a lot of other people have done, and you can see it in a lot of other people's measurements that they're measured the same way. They don't really push down that hard on their hair. But I think in this case, there's the most interesting, compelling stuff about Mike, and Mike is the guy. Mike's the guy to beat. Mike is the favorite to win, and that's why Mike's name, I feel like, is the name getting circulated the most because, like I said, let's be real. There's a lot of guys that are probably taking advantage of a couple centimeters on their hair, but in Mike's case, with him arguably being the most muscular guy, the favorite to win, that extra 8 pounds, it's a big deal. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the remeasuring, about what does this mean for Mike, and potentially what does it mean for anybody else if we really look at it under a very intense lens of scrutiny. Which other guys have a chance at missing weight here that we're talking about as top guys? And just another quick example here, one of the height comparisons. I was talking to Logan about this the other day, and I just asked Logan, what's your height in these pictures? Because he posted some pictures from the Arnold Classic. I said, what does the IFBB measure you at? And they measure Logan at 5'11.5", which means that Mike Sommerfeld in these pictures is only 2¼ inches shorter than Logan, according to last year's measurement. And to me, it looks like the height difference is a lot more than 2¼ inches. And again, that's why I think some of these arguments are compelling. There are some side-by-side pictures where Mike doesn't look over 5'9". But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.